Women who waited until marriage to have intimacy. What was your wedding night like? I met my now husband Josh when I was 17, and we were both camp counselors for a summer music camp. I thought he was annoying at first because he never followed the rules, and he thought I was too strict because I never did anything fun. This caused us to become extremely competitive, and created competitions between the kids in our cabins just so we could show off to each other. We must have pissed off the kids from working them too hard, and using them to prove a point, because they had created some type of parent trap for us. They locked us into the auditorium one day, and said that they weren't letting us out until we were nice to each other. In an instant, I went off the walls insane, but Josh somehow knew how to calm me down, humming my favorite song, Sweater Weather. By the time we left that auditorium, we became best friends with the promise that he'd play me the song by the beach on his guitar. We started doing everything together, and the kids used to make fun of us and ask when we'd make babies. And when the summer ended, we exchanged numbers and a plan to go to a concert together. I totally expected to be ghosted and chalked up as a summer fling, but he actually called me as soon as he got home. We started hanging out every single day until he finally asked me to be his girlfriend. Every single day I spent with him left me with a huge smile on my face and a tingling in my pants. Our chemistry was undeniable. I couldn't get enough of his beautiful face and his soft lips. But there was one obstacle in our relationship. I wanted to wait till marriage before doing the sideways tango. It wasn't that he didn't respect my wishes. We actually had a hard time stopping when we were tongue wrestling. Somehow, we made it to 5 years without going further when he got down on one knee at the neighborhood concert. I said yes so quickly because I'd never met anyone who made me as happy as he did. We rarely even fought because we always tried to communicate any issues we had ahead of time. So when our wedding came around, I said I do without any doubts in my mind. The only thing I could think about was jumping on top of him the second we got to our honeymoon hotel. Everyone filled my head with ideas like it would hurt like hell. What if he wasn't packing? And what if he was absolutely trash at it? I'd hinted to him that I was a bit nervous about it, but he reassured me that everything was going to be fine. I trusted him, but I was afraid I was going to have performance anxiety. I've never even done anything to myself for fear of God striking a lightning bolt at me or something. So when we finally got to our honeymoon hotel, I procrastinated being in the bedroom with him. I stayed in the shower, shaving every ounce of my body in a frenzy like Cassie from Euphoria. When I found nothing else to shave or clean, I finally went to meet Josh in the bedroom. The first thing he asked me was if I was comfortable doing anything today. I found it so sweet that he took my anxiety into consideration, but I told him I did want to. I was just nervous and afraid I wouldn't be able to please him. He grinned, pulled out a box, and said he had something just for that. He said it was called the honeymoon set, and he got it to make sure our honeymoon was special. The kit had an awaken arousal oil to help me calm down and get into it, an intimacy lube to make things a slip and slide for him, and intimacy massage oil to get to action quickly. He wanted to use these to make sure I wouldn't be too much in pain or too nervous when having our first time. I was still nervous, but I decided to give it a try. We started kissing slowly, taking everything piece by piece. Eventually, he asked if he could take off my dress, and when he did, he kissed every piece of my body he could touch. He then asked for permission to take off my underwear, and when I said he could, he dragged it off with his teeth. It was hot. That was until he took a bit of the awaken arousal oil and started to massage it with his fingers in my kitty. I couldn't help but squirm underneath him, and it wasn't because I was scared. He kept massaging me until I started to get desperate for him to do something already. He smirked at me, grabbed the intimacy massage oil, and started round 2 of making me beg for it. By the time he finished massaging me, I was aching and begging for him to take me. He finally listened to me and lathered me up with the lube so that I wouldn't be in pain from taking it. He was way bigger than I imagined, so I definitely needed some help with that. When he put it in, I felt a mixture of pain and pleasure that I'd never felt before. All I knew was that I didn't want it to end. He took it slow, but every thrust made me quiver like a dying puppy. I left hickeys all over his neck because I needed to let the pleasure out somehow. He slowly started going faster and faster until we both loudly finished while looking at each other. Everything everyone told me about intimacy was completely wrong, and honestly, if you're looking for a way to spice up your bedroom life, I'd definitely get the honeymoon set or any product from that list. He looked at me and asked me how I felt, and I just smiled at him and asked if he could do that trick again. He looked at me with the fear of God in his eyes and asked for 10 minutes to reset. So I set a timer for 2 minutes.